Johnny Somali is finally facing the consequences of his actions. South Korean prosecutors have hit him with multiple charges, and if convicted, he could spend up to 10 years behind bars. Johnny Somali showed up to his court hearing on March 7th, an hour late, still recovering from drinking the night before and wearing a MAGA hat. He even had the nerve to smirk in front of the judge, but the charges he's facing, they're no laughing matter. Johnny Somali is facing up to 10 years in prison and 5 different charges. We're going to be taking a look at all these different charges and exactly what he done to get them. For the first charge, we have obstruction of business. Now this is the incident in 7-Eleven when he was seen spilling noodles on the floor and causing a disruption, while he was mocking employees, disrespecting them, playing music on his speakers while live streaming the whole incident. Now under Article 314 of the Korean Criminal Code, obstruction of business occurs when a person interferes with another business by force or deception. So walking into a 7-Eleven, spilling noodles on the floor, playing music on your speaker, being loud and disruptive is very clearly obstruction of business, especially when you're doing it all on live stream just for views. Now the maximum charges for this are up to 5 years in prison and a fine of up to $11,000. Now you would think one charge of obstruction of business, maybe Johnny Somali would have learnt his lesson. He went on to do it 2 more times. His second charge is also obstruction of business. Now this one took place during another live stream when Johnny Somali showed up to a theme park, started blasting his chat donations through the speakers, shouting at staff, being a public nuisance in a theme park where there were children and parents around, and he was also asked by staff to stop. But he didn't listen. He just kept on screaming, shouting, which once again would have affected the business. Now this also is another maximum penalty of up to 5 years in prison and an $11,000 fine. Once again, for the third charge is another obstruction of business. This one takes place on public transport, where he was once again blasting music, playing chat donations, and verbally harassing passengers. And disrupting public transport in South Korea is also considered a crime. This guy is unbelievably stupid. He's got 3 disruptions of business charges, and that's not even the worst part, because the next 2 charges we're going to cover get way worse. But this guy just doesn't learn. He was caught in many other countries doing shit like this, in Israel, in other countries like Japan, and now he's getting charged with some serious shit, which is landing him up to 10 years in prison, all for his dumb live stream. His 4th charge, and the most serious of them all, is deepfake, violation of the Special Act on Sexual Violence. Now this is the one that's a potential 10 years in prison if he gets convicted. Johnny Somali created and shared fake pornographic deepfakes of a Korean female streamer using AI visuals to obviously make it appear real, and he'd done this and showed it all to his live stream. Now this falls under the Article 4-12 of the Special Act on Sexual Violence Crimes. Even if it's AI generated, it's still illegal to distribute content that humiliates someone sexually without consent in Korea. And this is the one which is landing him a maximum of up to 10 years in prison. And if convicted, he's also going to have to register as a sex offender for this as well, along with a lifetime ban of Korea. But I don't think anyone's surprised after getting all these charges that he's going to be getting banned from Korea. And this one is really severe because he done it to a streamer, a Korean streamer. So she's also a public figure, which adds to the embarrassment. This one can be seen as malicious intent to harm someone's reputation, which obviously weighs more. And now for the 5th and final charge, public sexual harassment. During several live streams, Johnny Somali had his text-to-speech donations on, where people would donate saying sexual messages to his chat. These Korean countries, South Korea, Japan, all these places, just being a public nuisance in itself is a crime, let alone playing music through speakers. It's culturally inappropriate, and it's also just frowned upon. And obviously playing sexual sounds on your chat. Now what makes this even worse is that in at least one of these instances recorded in a theme park there were children around, which under Korean sexual harassment laws, this is public sexual misconduct if children are present. It could also escalate to child endangerment, which if the prosecutors see this as child endangerment when you're playing sexual sounds in front of little children in a public space, this could land him up to 5 years in prison. And we know that when you go to prison for crimes like that, for sexual crimes, we know what happens there. I don't know what they're going to do to him in the South Korean prison. You know what I'm saying? You got some foreign American who's there disrespecting your country, disrespecting your people. I mean, this guy's got like a 5-star wanted level in Korea. And I really don't think Johnny Somali even understands how serious the charges against him are. He's facing 5 separate charges. And then when he had to show up to court, he was an hour late because he was drinking the night before. And he shows up in a Make America Great hat. Now I think Johnny Somali thinks thinks that because he's American, he's going to be able to get away with these. But when you have 3 charges for the same thing, that can't be dismissed as just being stupid or ignorant. The Korean prosecutors are going to look at this and realize he has malicious intent. He's disrespecting their country and their people for his own gain. I think they have to make a statement because this shit is starting to get out of hand. You had Vitaly in the Philippines. You got Johnny Somali in Korea. I hope he gets hit with 10 years. But a lot of the times, first-time foreign offenders can receive leniency. They can maybe look at you and think he didn't know. But Johnny Somali has shown that he's done the same thing multiple times, time and time again. I really don't think that they're going to look at him and have any kind of leniency or remorse. There's 3 main things courts look at to possibly reduce your sentence. 1 is pleading guilty, which he did. He's pled guilty to these charges. So the courts can look at that and possibly reduce his sentence. But he has shown no remorse and he's not apologized at all for any of his actions. I'm not sure if he's going to get a full 10 years unless the Korean prosecutors really want to make an example out of him. But he's basically guaranteed to go to prison. South Korea has a 98% conviction rate. Johnny Somali is basically fucked. He's fucked beyond belief. And this is what happens, man, when you have idiot streamers chasing just views and clout. And I'm sure these Korean prosecutors, they're probably going to be looking at all his old live streams as well. He's literally documented himself committing multiple crimes across the world. They're going to be looking at that shit and realize this is not someone who's genuinely apologetic or sorry. He didn't just make a mistake. He's intentionally doing this and they're going to see through it. Like, these Asian countries need to set an example out of people like him. A lot of these Americans are taking advantage of the culture in Asia where it's a very polite culture. You go in public and everyone's so polite and they're so kind. They're taking the kindness for weakness and they need to be hit with some serious consequences. If he just gets like a slap on the wrist or, you know, he doesn't do like serious time and face serious fines, the situation's going to get worse. This could be like a pivotal decision because this case is getting a lot of attention and I think they're going to have to really put their foot down and say, we need to make an example out of this motherfucker. He's come to our country, disrespected the place. If they let him off and just give him a slap on the wrist, this is basically a green light for all other streamers that are looking at him and thinking, fuck it, I'll go to South Korea, I'll go to Japan or whatever, do the same kind of shit, make money, get views, get subs, get clout, get all these things, and whatever fine they hit me with, I'll pay it because they're probably going to make more money through the views they get by committing these sort of antics, and they'll just pay the fine. They don't give a shit. This is, I think, a really pivotal decision for them to make, and we'll see what happens. There's going to be a few more court hearings. There was one just yesterday, and there's possibly going to be a couple more, because while the hearing is taking place, while the trial is taking place, Johnny can't leave the country. He can't work. They could just prolong the trial, rinse him of any money he has, so his money is going to be getting drained, and it's just a long process, and they could just torture him that way. Then he gets hit with 5 years in prison after a trial that gets stretched out for years. There's many ways they could take this. To be honest, I just want to see this guy suffer. I hate people like him, these stupid idiot streamers. Unless he's hit hard with some serious consequences, he's not going to learn.